Welcome all you guitar nerds out there. Today's video will show a repair and overview of a Gibson GA 40T amplifier. These amps were covered in tweed, as you can see here, but our example was refinished with black Tolex. Only the handle shows the unspoiled look of this unit. The Gibson logo is still in place, only the last letter is cracked. And here's the magic Les Paul tag. The faceplate shows some corrosion, which is not unusual on Gibson amps. It has a tremolo section, as you can see here, and the volume pot in the first channel is not original. Let's find out how old this amp is. The transformer code might help. The first three numbers, 166, is a manufacturer code. In this case, the magnetic component incorporation. 143 tells us the transformer was made in the 43rd week in 1961. And here's the output transformer. The code tells us it's 19th week in 1961 as well. Let's take a look inside. Ooh, this amp is absolutely dirty and filthy. Yuck. The guy who sold that thing to my customer was a chain smoker, so you're lucky that YouTube videos don't smell. This amp really smells like a dead raccoon. What a mess. Look at this. By the way, this is an absolutely gorgeous Jensen Alnico speaker, 12 inches. So beautiful. And you see the foot switch that is hardwired in this amp. So here are the guts. What can you see here? Oh, there's one bypass capacitor already clipped out. Look at this. The resistors are all 1 watt resistors, so they will never fail. Well done, Gibson. But here's another ugly thing. Somebody tagged in these capacitors free floating, and here's why. He clipped out the original capacitor. You can see here that he popped his inside out, so this capacitor is faulty as can be. The Astron capacitor in the back is interesting why still in circuit, but I think he's dead as well. Here's another fun one. The speaker cables are barely hanging in there, and some genius had the bright idea to tag in a speaker out. Look at this. If you connect another speaker with the same impedance, you will cut the resistance in half, and that might kill your output transformer. So I'm gonna remove that funny cable as well. Okay, let's fire that thing up and see what we have. The owner complains that the tremolo does not work. One channel is dead. And here, and that's very interesting, we have motorboating. Listen to that. Motorboating is a parasitic oscillation caused sometimes by faulty filter caps, and sure enough, I will change these filter caps. I'm sure this is the reason why this thing is motorboating. So let's get to work and get rid of this old junk. By the way, I added a 3-prong power cord, and I took the death cap and the ground switch out of circuit. Well, this filter cap that was still in circuit looks really nasty. Look at this, it's bulging out, bubbles everywhere, and here you can see that some yellow gunk is creeping out. Just for the giggles, let's check the capacitance of these old fellows. Here we have, instead of 10 microfarad, 27.9 nanofarad. The next 10 microfarad measures not even 1 microfarad. And here we read not even 5 microfarad, where we should read 10. And the 20 microfarad is, wow, it's down to 0.36 nanofarad. This thing is absolutely dead. To get access to the coupling caps and the bypass caps, I have to flip the board, and to do that I had to remove all the pots, all the ground connections, and the input jacks. I already snipped out some of them. Here are the bypass caps and the coupling caps for the power tubes. Here are the capacitors for the tone circuit. And these three capacitors are the low frequency oscillation capacitors for the tremolo, the LFO. You remember that one of the pots was not original, and this is the one that I mentioned before, and you can see that this joker is in perfect shape, right? Almost perfect. Another problem that popped up when I flipped the board was a lot of the wires were so corroded and rotten that they immediately snapped off from the eyelet board, and you can see that the white and yellow cable are already replaced, but another one came loose. That was really pain and trouble. Right, time for a little overview what was done so far. The filter caps, the bypass caps, the coupling caps, and the caps in the tremolo circuit are replaced. Gibson did a lot of things right in this amp. One thing I will show you here: they decoupled the tube sockets from the chassis with rubber washers. That keeps the tubes from rattling and will extend the tube life. Well done, Gibson. And here you can see the 5.6K grid stop resistors that I added to the output tubes. Oh, let's talk about tubes, because this amp has a quite unusual line of tubes. The preamp tubes are 5879s. They are pentodes rather than the 12X7 double triodes that we find in most Fender and Marshall amps. After all these years, these pentodes still take my tester to the limit. Look at this. The tremolo driver is another unique tube, a 6SQ7, a duplex diode triode. What? Well, what that means, we have two diodes and one triode in one metal shell, and it tested fine as well. The phase inverter is a standard 12AX7 made by Raytheon with a Gibson label, and the power tubes are 6v6s, also made by Raytheon but marked with JAN, Join Army Navy. That means these tubes have military specifications. These are the highest quality tubes possible. Now it's time to check the BIOS. Let's do some readings. We have a voltage drop across the cathode resistor of 16 volts, By the way, the resistor has not 200 ohms, it has 196.5 ohms. The voltage between plate and cathode is 281.5 volts. Let's see where we are. Voltage drop of 16 volts divided by 196.5 ohms. That's a cathode resistor, and we end up with 81 milliamps. We have 281.5 volts across cathode and plate times 81 milliamps, and here we have 22.8 watts of plate dissipation. But we have two power tubes, so we have to divide this again. Two power tubes, and we have 11.4 watts of plate dissipation, which is absolutely perfect for 66s. Well, now that everything is said and done, let's listen to the Gibson Les Paul amp GA40T.